Morning to you all at Uppsala University in Sweden from a good afternoon here in Korea. Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Koko Noren, Mayor of Uppsala Mr. Eric Pelling, Professor Becky Way, Vice President International, National University of Ireland, Galway, distinguished professors, guests, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored and thrilled to be asked to speak today at the inaugural event of ENLIGHT European Dialogue for the Sustainable Urban Development. Mayor Pelling just reminded me of the fact that what an opportunity I missed to visit your beautiful campus at a beautiful time of the season. But I hope I can have a rain check, maybe pandemic check, to visit your campus in the near future. But still, it is very great to meet you all online. Before I start, I want to say three things. First, I thank the three speakers, Professor Noren, Mayor Pelling, and Professor Wei, for their inspirational yet witty speeches. Secondly, my deep gratitude should also go to today's host, Uppsala University, and its able team, Jonathan and Bjorn, to put every detail perfectly in place. I'm very happy to join today on behalf of the two institutions I'm working for, Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens in Vienna, Austria, and the Future Consensus Institute, Taeje Academy in Seoul, Korea. And I saved the best for last. I'm immensely grateful to our audience, teachers, researchers, and students, along with representatives from cities for your participation today. I'm also eagerly awaiting the excellent output to be made by the project management staff, who are just challenged to build the infrastructures to make this collaboration work. Distinguished professors, guests, students, ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 pandemic has caused global disruptions in all aspects of human life. It also slowed down the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. SDG 11, urban development, is no exception. According to a 2018 UN report, about 70% of humanity are expected to live in urban areas by 2050. Urban expansion is vital and unavoidable to our life. For the last 30 years, Asia has led the global urbanization. Megacities have sprawled in Asia, particularly China. They contributed to phenomenal economic development. Unfortunately, however, they also emerged as the main culprits of compounding the global unsustainability crisis. For the last 30 years, the number of new megacities with a population over 10 million increased to 25, out of which 16 new megacities came from Asia, accounting for the 2/3 of the total. For the next 30 years, Asia and Africa will lead the global urbanization, accounting for 90%, as urbanization has reached its peak in the rest of the world, particularly developed world. 500 million from China will still come to the cities, while 2.5 billion from India and the rest of Asia, as well as 300 million from Africa, will do the same. If the current trends continue, all these people are likely to move to the megacities. This will be a global disaster. It will accelerate the global warming, as the world's top 25 megacities account for 25% of greenhouse gas emission by all cities. It will also accelerate the socio-economic inequality as the skyrocketing living and housing costs in megacities are bound to make the poor poorer and the rich richer. Urban slums in megacities have become the source of socio-economic dystopia. Even the pandemic hit the socially weak and economically poor much harder. If things go unchanged, our old and healthy communities of neighbors and families will be threatened, which may forebode the unfortunate beginning of the end of human civilization. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to prepare for the better future, we must learn from the recent past. First, megacities should not be replicated, but rehabilitated. We must work hard to reduce excesses of megacities, including greenhouse gas emission, pollution, and rising inequality. We must turn existing megacities away from the source of problems to the path of solutions. Secondly, we must design new models for future cities. New cities must be built to be human-centric and nature-friendly, making them sustainable. Putting people and planet center and upfront is the basis of the 2030 Global Sustainability Agenda. New models for future cities must be fundamentally different from the past. Here, I want to argue small is beautiful. Small and smart city by digital transformation and better governance can enhance the quality of life and competitiveness despite the cheaper living and other social costs relative to megacities. Small cities will allow us to catch two birds with one stone. They will provide Asia and Africa with new urban solutions. They will also help the existing megacities in the world rectify the socio-economic excesses. We must devise a new urbanization model for Asia and Africa. New models for smart cities must be small and networked. But this is easier said than done. Unless we make small cities attractive, people will not come to them. The main challenge is how to ensure the quality of life and the competitiveness of small cities. Digital infrastructure will enable the provision of the high-quality health, education, and other social public services to small cities. Citizens may feel as if they live in the center of a megacity thanks to the ubiquitous untapped services. I believe the key to high competitiveness lies in the trinity of the academia, business, city government to work together. I would call it the Holy Trinity for future cities. It will produce synergy much greater than the sum of three sectors. Through this trinity, small cities can be a mecca for young startups, which will translate academic work into business with the support of the city government. I want to salute today's event, ENLIGHT European Dialogue, as an excellent example of promoting this crucial enabler of the Holy Trinity. Above all, the members of ENLIGHT represent this best. Basque, Bordeaux, Bratislava, Galway, Ghent, Göttingen, Groningen, Tartu, and Uppsala. When these names shine brighter than megacities, the world will become more sustainable. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Europe is doing better than the rest of the world in urbanization. Europe has a lot to offer as better urban solutions for the sustainable future. Most cities in Europe are not too big nor too small. They are well connected and networked to other cities. They are competitive with a decent quality of life. Many cities are already practicing the holy trinity of academia, business, and the city government alliance. Europe can help Asia and Africa devise a small, smart, and sustainable model for future cities. This is a win-win proposition for the whole world. It'll be not easy. It'll be a long and arduous journey. It'll require creativity and collaboration. It is doable only when we work together. I thank you so much for your attention. I hope today's event will mark the beginning of our joint journey to make future cities a better and safer place for us all to live in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for a both sobering but also inspiring presentation to set us off this morning. We have a few minutes for questions, if there are any questions or comments. The Ambassador's said that he's happy to take a couple of questions. So if anyone has anything they'd like to elaborate on or questions to ask, then please feel free, raise your hand, and we will see if we can get a microphone to you. Thank you, Becky. If you would like to, if you look towards that camera, then the Ambassador will be able to, you can talk to him.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Sorry, I'm talking into a yellow box, which is a bit disconcerting. Thank you so much for that fascinating insight. And I was just wondering if you could elaborate on your thoughts about how we step backwards from the massive growth in megacities and how the megacities that already exist can move towards a more sustainable model. I know it's a huge question, but a few thoughts on that would be fascinating.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, it is a very big question. I wish I have a crystal ball to offer a clear solutions, but I think we have twofold tasks. On the one hand, we have to work harder to reduce the excesses, the symptoms of dystopia growing in megacities, particularly new megacities which have sprawled in Asia and other parts of the world. So that must be the ongoing priority. That requires a lot of work and also collaboration between private, public, and business sectors. And at the same time, we have to think harder about what kind of alternative, better model for the future cities newly built, rather than repeating what we have been doing to bring people to megacities and make it even bigger and bigger. So I hope Europe can help Asia and Africa to build new cities for the future, urbanization, small, smart, and sustainable. And there, I think Europe has a lot to offer to Asia and Africa. You may come up with a new design for small and networked cities, and then maybe you can test it in Europe and share it. Share your best practices and lessons learned from those models, and then maybe Europe can form an alliance with Asia and Africa to build future cities with a better model for the future.
Thank you very much. Sorry, forgot the microphone. Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? Right at the back there, thank you. Jonathan, can you throw that far?
You help me.
The microphone's just making its way back to the speaker here, Ambassador.
Hello, hi. Thank you very much,
You're
Mr.
tossing the
Ambassador, and
microphone.
thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes,
Thank you very much
yeah,
for your very
I can hear you very
informative
well.
and very wonderful speech. During your speech, you mentioned many times, like in China, because in Asian regions we have many cities are facing the same problems, the transition of a lot of mega cities. And I'm originally from China. At this moment, I'm working as postdoc researcher at Ghent University. And meanwhile, I'm also working for a competitor of Uppsala University. I'm also working part-time at Lund University. So I know how beautiful the small cities in Europe are. So, and you mentioned many times that Europe can help, especially can help Asian countries for solving those problems of the mega cities and how to build the small and beautiful cities. But my question is about what as Asian countries, as Asian mega cities, what we can learn from the European models, from the European experience. You mentioned many times Europe can help. And what about how our Asian countries can help each other? For example, today here we have the European dialogue about the sustainable urban development. And when will we Asian countries have the Asian dialogue on the same topic? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I absolutely agree with your suggestion. Asia should begin to work together because most of the megacities have sprawled in Asia, across Asia. And now Asian countries in the Indian subcontinent, in South Asia, are following the suit what China, Korea, and other East Asian countries did. So the East Asian countries also have a lot to offer to the countries in South and other parts of Asia, because the greater number of people, Asians, will come to the cities for the next 30 years. So I think India and the South Asian countries may be the number one in terms of urbanization for the next 30 years. So you are absolutely right in suggesting that countries in East Asia which move to urbanization earlier than the rest of Asia also has to share their knowledges, lessons learned, and best practices with other parts of Asia where urbanization will pick up for the next 30 years. And also, I think we have to think about how we can help Africa as well, because we'll have population explosion in Africa because birth rate there is far higher than the rest of the world, even including Asia. Many countries in East Asia now, birth rate is falling down, even below the average of OECD countries, but still birth rate is very high in Africa. So East Asia, I hope, helps South Asia and also Africa. And there, I think, particularly countries in East Asia, China, Korea, Japan, have a lot to work together and then come up with the mechanism to help countries in other parts of Asia and Africa. And of course, we can also partner with European countries for that purpose, because as the previous speakers have emphasized, these are global challenges. Global challenges require global solutions. One country or one organization, no matter how resourceful or powerful they are, cannot do this job alone. So we have to come up with a global mechanism to think and also practice global solutions to global challenges. Because the 17 Sustainable Development Goals represent the problems we have in each of the 17 areas. Although UN describe it as goals, but it represents the global unsustainability crisis we have in each area, each of the 17 areas. And it means that the challenges are great and many, and solutions will be very difficult to find. But one brighter side is that because all these 17 challenges, goals, are interconnected, if we find a solution to one, it may provide solutions to other challenges and other goals. So challenges are interconnected, but also solutions can be interconnected. So that's why the coping with these challenges require collaboration between the countries, but also across the areas, across the goals, across the challenges. So I very much like today's theme, ENLIGHT, and I take it as coalition of the academic institutions, city governments, and also civil society. And I hope this model can be replicated in Asia as well. So as you just asked, I hope Asian countries will also find a way to come up with our own version of public-private partnership to tackle sustainability challenges in the future, starting from urban development.
Thank you very much. We have time for one last short question, and the microphone's already made its way.
Hello, my name is Tina Karen Pusse. I'm originally from Germany, but I'm now teaching environmental humanities at NUI Galway. I agree with your analysis that the trend to megacities was the wrong one. But however, since so many investments have already been made in these cities, I wonder, would there be a third way of just restructuring these cities into smaller self-containing units, perhaps with green areas in between, to let them, basically to thin them out through a more kind of natural process, like investing in green belts between quarters, improving living conditions, etc., limiting the sprawl into the further countryside. Would that not be the better strategy in terms of sunk investment costs that have already been made in these areas? When I don't have many experiences with really mega cities, but when I look at the biggest city I've ever been in, that's Berlin. That's of course a tiny village compared to the cities you are talking about. But living in Berlin does not feel like living in a big city. The quarters are more like urban villages, and the feel is not that of living in a mega city with slums all around. And the biggest problem with megacities, I think, is the metabolism that is associated to it, that people who have to work in them cannot afford to live in them, and then they have longer commutes, which is exactly what you want to avoid when you move into a city, etc. But I think that could be mitigated within the megacity as well.
Yes, you are right. I mean, problems in megacities are complex. And also, it is very clear for each megacity, history and development pattern is different. So there is no one-size-fits-all solution for megacities. So I believe each megacity has to find solutions best tailored to the problems they have. And some cities in the developing part of Asia, the huge urban slum is maybe the first priority they have to tackle. But in the megacities, in the more developed part of Asia, have different sets of problems. Traffic congestion, longer commute time, but I believe the digital transformation, which has come closer to our life, I think is one of the paradox of the COVID-19 pandemic. We realize many things can be done online, like I'm doing today with you, because I never thought of doing this online without traveling to Uppsala University. So I think we are also now learning which parts of our daily life can be done more efficiently by digital technology, but maybe other parts may still need in-person contacts. So I think each city will try to find a policy mix of the solutions which best tailored to meet challenges unique to each megacity. And as you said, big cities in Europe, I agree with you that wherever I go, I always feel much more comfortable, because megacities in Asia with too tight population density, it creates a lot of problems because we are wasting too much time on road, and most of the cars remain parked. Still, people buy cars. I hope the Asians can change our lifestyle, switching from cars to bicycles or more nature-friendly ways of commute, or even walk. So I think we can learn a lot from each other. And also, as countries in Asia, and now maybe for the next 30 years, Africa also will face the same urbanization problems. And I hope we can help them adopt a better, more sustainable models of urban development. And I think the latecomers also have an advantage, because that means a latecomer can reduce the likelihood of trials and errors, because we can compare different models and we can choose the best model we think of. So I think still Europe has a lot to help, because you move ahead in urbanization earlier than the rest of the world, and now even you are turning your cities into a more human-centric and nature-friendly place to live in, and that model itself is I think an inspiration, should be an inspiration to Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So I hope you can help us in our journey for the better future for us all. Thank you so much.